On today's show, the guys are discussing why they do what they do. It's all about the end game, and the end game for the guys is sharing and growth in education. There's an East Initiative update, information on upcoming appearances, all of that and more up next on EduTechGuys. You're listening to the EduTechGuys, EduTechGuys.com. Hello and welcome to EduTechGuys. I'm David Henderson.
Hey, I'm Jeff Madlock.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, downloading this episode, turning us on to listen to see what on earth we're going to talk about today.
I tell you what on earth we're going to talk about today. We're talking about you going out to Google and typing in www.edutechguys.com. Heck, just type in EduTechGuys and you're going to find us. And don't forget to check us out on social media. We're everywhere. Just put in at EduTechGuys. And there are those two beautiful faces. Okay, they're emojis. I'm not going to lie to you. They're going to be looking back at you, smiling, saying, hey, how are you doing in education today? Because Jeff's in a bad mood. No.
Well, you know, we had to use emojis. So we used to use our real faces, and we were banned by many internet sites. So,
yeah, Google Safe Search blocked us. I remember the email vividly. It said, your face is scaring babies. Yeah, that's what it said. So we had to. Great. We're making babies cry.
Oh, that's my wonderful. Gosh. Oh, that's hilarious. Speaking of making babies cry, Apple had their big shindig recently.
You know, I was a little disappointed. I was expecting, usually I've been looking forward to, I have very few bright spots in my life. And so sometimes I look forward to just a new OS or something, that's going to release, because it'll have some new little Easter eggs and some new little bangs and whistles and, things like that. And I was hoping, I sat there and watched that hour and a half of Apple were the greatest thing since Band-Aids. And, I'm watching this mess, thinking that, okay, any moment they're going to say, and today you can download the new version of Mac OS or iPad OS or whatever. And no, they never even mention it. I have to hear about it after the fact that they're going to release it on the 19th or 20th or the 30th of September or something like that. And I was just really disappointed, man. I've got to tell you, Apple, boo-hoo,
Well, I got to tell you, my daughter's a senior in high school, and she was texting me during it and afterwards, and she said, when it was all said and done, she said there wasn't anything different or special.
And maybe that's the scary part. Maybe we're at that point. I mean, where can it go now? I mean, until we have literally floating holograms above our hands or wristwatches, I mean, what's next? I mean, what's going to make us all go, oh, that's going to change my life? That there's just really not that much, I don't think. I will say, I'm guessing that, the health stuff Apple brings and that a lot of the companies are bringing, and Apple particularly, there's a lot of stuff with falling and hearing and your heart and, living a healthy lifestyle that Apple's bringing to the table. And it is a little bit more attainable to everyone now. I mean, you have to admit, everywhere you go, every third arm you see has probably got an Apple Watch on it. So that's kind of neat. But I mean, where's it going? And I guess now currently with the tariffs really kicking in pretty hard, we're going to see a lot of tech, get back to that point where you can't afford it. Remember when we couldn't afford stuff that we wanted because it was too expensive? Yeah. I think we're heading back that way.
Well, and what's been interesting in that whole tariff thing, I don't know if you've thought about this or if you remember, and especially and I'm kind of speaking to you, Jeff, yes, but also to listeners, you who are listening to the show. When there was first talk of the tariffs and it was going to be, oh my gosh, all the prices are going to go through the roofs and blah, 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 blah. What I thought was interesting was several companies that I deal with, and Jeff also deals with some of the same companies, they upped their prices on things that, frankly, I didn't understand how it was tariff related. For example, like hosting for your Wi-Fi console.
Exactly.
They're hosting it in the cloud. The tariffs go up, and now they're like, well, we're going to have to readjust our entire pricing schedule because the tariffs. I'm like, how are they hosted in China? What I don't understand. Right. Why is the price of my my management host going up when it's on probably an AWS server somewhere? What I mean,
right? Well, I mean that's the kicker. So and I guess that's the interesting thing that we're talking about is that I didn't understand that at first, and honestly, I still don't understand it. I guess because yeah, I do. They've got to make that money up somewhere. I mean, they're going to add $25 or whatever they're going to add to every Chromebook or whatever it is. But, I couldn't understand. Okay, so I bought a new car and you had to add $100 to my monthly, because of the tariffs. Then why did you go up on the gas too? That doesn't make sense.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And I think it's just they want to keep their profit margin and they want to be greedy. And I think that's the kicker. You and I were talking about this. It's funny. We weren't going to banter a lot this week, but it looks like we're going to banter a little bit. But you had actually said, we don't understand why Apple is, some people hate Apple and some people hate Samsung and some people hate Windows. But, Apple is a giant. They have more money than they know what to do with. And that's partially because of greed. I mean, we have made Amazon and these companies these megalo giants because we act like they're saving us money, but they're actually in it for the profits. I mean, they're in it to make the people that put money that buy their stocks and wealthy. That's what they're out there to do.
Sure, absolutely.
We created this monster and it's going to keep going for some time. I mean, Apple just has so much money and so much power that they're just going to keep doing what they do. And we can all make fun of it. And I've seen so many memes out there about the new 3-lens, iPhones and stuff. But I promise you, come Monday morning when they release the numbers of the pre-orders, we're all going to be floored. We're all going to be like, how did they sell so many phones?
Right. Yeah.
And it's because it's just, I don't care how ugly the tennis shoes are that, Yeezy turns out or whatever his name is, people are going to buy those tennis shoes. Kids are going to drop down their money, for that device or that tennis shoe or that shirt, or just because it is what it is. It's the popular thing to have. So, I mean, a car's a car. Inevitably, a car gets you from point A to point B. Now, I guess if you need, a bidet in the back seat and a face spritzer and you need a 22-inch screen in the front dash, then that's up to you. But still, I don't need that to get to Walmart. So, and give Walmart my money. So.
I just want to know which car has the bidet in the back seat.
I think it's a Bugatti. I really think
Bugatti.
Just the word Bugatti. It just sounds kind of dirty.
That's what it is. That's right. That's why that was a good choice.
But I mean, look where it is. I mean, everything right now is about what's popular. And I think that's where we sit. But
and along those same lines, though, I think that that's one of the things that this latest Apple foray, whatever they call their announcement thing, this could sort of potentially be an eye opener, though, if it turns out that when Apple does release those initial numbers and they go, wasn't quite what we thought it was going to be, maybe our fame and fortune is finally starting to wane in the fact that we're not really doing anything different and we better step up our game. Now, granted, Apple has, like you said, more money than they know what to do with. Apple could literally not make another thing for 10, 20 years. And, that's when it might start hurting their bottom line. So,
right.
The problem is, though, that is the problem. You get certain companies who get to a certain point where, essentially you can, take the car out of gear and just let it coast, and you're really not going to slow down for some time to come. Well, that is also going to ultimately lead to, the return of, the late 80s, early 90s for Apple, when everybody went, what's Apple?
Well, yeah, and I think that's possible. I always wondered if they struggle with the idea of are we turning out stuff too quickly? Is because they're on a 6-month, 1 year rotation of new iPhones and new equipment, new OSs at this point, and it makes you wonder if they just held off a little ways, would it actually increase the, the demand for the product, even if it wasn't a huge change. But, I think what's interesting is that we give Apple a hard time, but all of the other companies, all they have to do is follow suit. That's all they have to do. So all they have to do is watch what Apple's doing and meet or exceed it by 3%. And they get to keep selling Samsung phones or Nokias or whatever they want to sell. That's the interesting part. I've noticed that there's a great commercial out from Microsoft for the new, I think it's the Surface, and it's a kid named Mac.
Mac Pro. Yeah. Oh my, or right. MacBook. Yes. Oh my gosh.
And the sad part is, and I'm going to say this, I'm sure it's a fine machine. I've used a lot of great Windows machines in my life, and it looks real pretty, and it looks exactly like a different color MacBook Air. It looks exactly like one. It has the little shiny Windows logo on the top that's been, it's been etched out with a laser, just like the MacBook Airs have the Apple that have had there for, 7 years now. Yeah, all they have to do is wait for Apple to do something, meet it and exceed it just a little bit to say that, we're faster in doing this thing. That's, I don't know. Hey, but like I said, it's what's popular. But, I know it's something that's really popular because, I've been in education for over 25 years, and I've seen the challenges some students have to face every day, whether it's going to school hungry or not being able to see a doctor when they're sick. Those are the challenges that make it hard for kids to focus on learning.
Yeah, exactly. But thankfully, Concordia University in Portland is leading the way with their 3 to PhD program. It helps combat students' fears, freeing them to pursue their highest dreams.
That's true. And what's cool is they're, along with everything else that's happening in the world, they're actually revolutionizing education, by creating a new holistic model that provides groceries and healthcare and even clothing to students right there on campus, helping them to thrive and helping our communities to strengthen and grow.
Yeah, Concordia's College of Education offers online and on-campus programs where students have the opportunity to learn about a more compassionate approach to education, and they can see how nurturing the whole student can lead to amazing things.
So you know what? If you want to learn more about how you can help students conquer their monsters and achieve their highest dreams, visit cu-portland.edu/let's conquer. That's cu-portland.edu/let's conquer. #nurture, educate, grow. David and I have a lot of lunch discussions, and we have a lot of things that happen to us. This year, in fact, as we've been doing this over 5 years now, and we make a lot of trips. We take a whole lot of trips to conferences, and we love that part of the gig. That's the first thing is, why do we do what we do? Well, we do what we do to share. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And I know most people would say, well, listen, we've got Twitter chats for that, and we've got blogs for that, and this, that, and another thing. But there really is something about a face-to-face conversation, or a voice-to-voice conversation, about getting into that conversation. And I can tell you that podcasting is wonderful, and we love interviewing people on podcasting. And 99 times out of 100, we like to do it with video because we like to see the people we're talking to. When we go to conferences, we actually get to see the people we're talking to.
Yeah, exactly.
We get to breathe the same air that they're breathing. And I think that's a really a big deal to us. And for us, we always tell people, they ask us what it's like to do 80, interviews in 3 or 4 days. And we say, it's like going to 80 micro sessions, micro workshops. And it's not only that we do that, I feel like we actually create a really nice personal bond with our new friends in education that we make every time we sit down.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that the direction that we have sort of gone. When Jeff and I first started this podcast, it feels like a long time ago. All those years ago, or whatever it's been, 5 years. we really didn't have an idea what we were doing other than we knew we wanted to do a podcast. And it was like literally the next day that there was a conference that happened to be across the street from us. And we were like, hey, let's go set up a table and some microphones and let's just sometimes literally grab people who are walking by and just get them to share their experience of being at that particular event. And that is, when you talk about when Jeff says, that's one of our, quote unquote endgame pieces here, one of the reasons why we do what we do for EduTechGuys. Now I realize there's tons of other podcasts out there and they have, everybody's got their own reason for doing what they do. But one of our primary focuses is, and really has been from the start is that sharing is letting whoever is sitting across from us, whether it's virtually or physically, getting them to share that little piece of themselves. So if you're listening and you've been on the show, that's what it's about. It's about getting you to sit across from us and share in, 10, 15 minutes, some of the nuggets that you have obtained, whether it's through a career in teaching, whether it's you're at a conference and you've attended a session or two, or you've presented at a conference. And if you're listening and you've not been a guest on our show, you're a listener and maybe you don't ever want to be on a guest on any show, which I totally understand. But one of the things that I hope that you're getting out of our podcast is that sharing right there is where we sit down with folks and one of the things I hope that you notice in our podcast is we generally let our guests do most of the talking because we want them to share. And sometimes, we have guests where they're a little reluctant to share for whatever reason, might be a little shy, might be, it could be whatever. But by the end of the conversation, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, really, those folks will say, oh my gosh, we were just, I forgot we were even on the air. Yeah, exactly. We're just talking. We're just having a conversation. And part of that conversation is having our guests share what's important to them in whatever moment they happen to be sharing.
And I think that is the key right there. We don't send out questions. We don't have a list of questions that they can prep ahead of time. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we've always tried to convey on our podcast. And that's what we try to do in our interviews when we meet people at the conference. Yes, we ask them, what you're doing at the conference and what are you bringing to the conference, but they don't know any of the other questions we're going to ask. They don't know what else is going to come up. And I think what happens with some podcasts and a lot of interviews in every genre is that they come in knowing the questions. So they've got something prepared. So sometimes it just comes off a bit dry. I want to know why you chose what you chose to teach. Yes. And why you chose the way you want to teach it. And the only way to get to that is to actually get to the heart of the conversation and get the real emotions behind, why you do what you do, or why you're doing what you do, the passion that you have behind it. And to me, that's a big deal. If you've ever wondered, it's just like today's episode. David and I have a few key topics that we want to discuss, but we have nothing written out. Because we want you to understand the passion behind what we do and how we make it happen. And we want it to be real. We want it to be true.
Yeah, exactly. It's very dynamic. It's very organic. We one of our favorite questions, like Jeff said, is not just, why say, are you teaching what you're teaching, but especially at conferences. Yeah, we want you to tell us about a session you've attended, but we want to know, why did you pick that particular session? What did you think you were going to learn there? What did you hope to learn there? And then, of course, the follow-up generally leads to, so is that what you learned? Or what did you come away with wanting more of that wasn't a part of that session?
Yeah, and I think that's the real key to a really great interview. I think that's a really great, and I hate to use the word interview. That's a key to a really great conversation that we get to have. And I think sometimes they're shocked, and that's what makes them walk away with, when it's over with, I forgot we were even doing an interview. I thought we were just having a conversation.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's one of the things we talk about a lot, is that that's where a lot of the stuff happens at conferences. And the thing that most people realize is they go to these giant conferences and larger conferences because it's the hallway stuff that happens. It's the stuff waiting in line, queuing up to go into a session, or, just hanging out in the hallways and meeting new people that are sitting down, going through their tchotchke, looking through their pamphlets that they've gotten handed out to them. And you strike up conversations. And those are the conversations that actually change your life and change your teaching methods and change who you are as an educator and how you approach technology and education and the whole bit. And I think that's kind of what we've always tried to strive to create. And I think that that's what we want to see happen in your classroom. I think we all would agree that that's the kind of relationship we want with our students in the classroom. We want that conversational learning so that every day it's an epiphany for them. And it's one that happens organically, that was not, you didn't look down at your notes and went, there it was. I knew it was going to happen at 15 minutes and 36 seconds into the lesson. No,
yes,
you didn't expect it to happen. They didn't expect it to happen. And it just changed the course of your curriculum for the rest of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is exactly.
And so, the other part of it is that, so I put this in here, the end game, but also what's the cost of what we do? Just so everybody knows, we don't make money doing this. We make very little money doing this. Sometimes people pay for us to come in, and we thank them from the bottom of our hearts. We can't tell you that's really awesome. But we do it because we want to do it. Yes, we like to look for sponsors, just like anyone else out there with a podcast or doing workshops likes to do. But we're not mandated by the organizations that we work for. That they actually don't do much support for us. Sometimes they let us off, and we don't have to take a vacation day. But on the whole, we take vacation days. We use our vacation days to continue doing educational technology because we enjoy it, because we feel like we're doing something that's worthwhile to our profession.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, this is going to sound a little, I don't know if braggy is the right word, but here's the thing. If you've been to a conference where we have been, and especially if you've been to a conference where we have not been, that is, you have not seen us, that's kind of our point. Our point is no one else is doing what we do the way we do it. Now, I will say, especially over the last year, there have been there's been sort of a movement to having people set up podcast booths at various stations at various conferences. But even then, it's not what we do. It's not the way we do it. We're very passionate about getting there, getting set up, getting in front of, the folks that are there, getting in front of you and sitting down and just having a conversation. It's not a big, elaborate, crazy booth that, a lot of folks, frankly, aren't going to step into because it's a crazy, big, elaborate booth. Usually we've got a table with some chairs and there's equipment. We have to, obviously we've got to have equipment to do this, but really when it's all said and done, it's usually 3, 4, maybe 5 of us, all together, sitting around a table, chit-chatting and sharing whatever it is that you're doing at that conference. And then the after effect of that is taking those bits and pieces and sharing those individual conversations out with, anyone and everyone in the world. And I think that's one of the things that kind of separates EduTechGuys from a lot of the other podcasters who, I'm just going to say it, the Johnny come latelys who I think they're, they think they're the greatest upstarts. And I'm not calling out anybody specifically. I'm just saying there are some and that's how it is. And I get that. But the difference that I have seen especially is that at the end of the day, when we have recorded 20, 30 individual conversations for that day, each individual person is given a personalized link to their conversation that they can share out to anybody they want to. We don't chop them all up and put them into kind of a compilation of conversations we had. No, each one of those conversations is important to us, and we believe it's important enough that those folks that we talk to, when we talk to you, it's us and you. This is your conversation. So anyone in the world can come and listen to that whole unedited conversation without it being, lost in the shuffle of some, overproduced, like I said, compilation summary of, hey, this is what we did today. I don't know. We're a different breed.
Definitely a different breed. and that's just, and that's, that's what we do. And so, that's pretty much our end game. Our end game is to provide something for educators that they can look back on, that they can use to move forward with, that they can be proud of. And I think that would probably be our definition of what we've done over the past 5 years, is that I'm really proud of the work we've done. And I'm really proud to say that, I'm an EduTech guy, and that we've done so many, interviews, almost 400 at this point. So that's a lot of interviews.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, it's just something that we'd like to talk about. And we'd like to know that that's our end game. So I guess that's the question we have for you. Let us know about what you do, what you're doing in your class. And so, yeah, we might go to conferences and talk to hundreds of people, but you do something pretty special yourself when you're talking to 30 kids, 40 kids, 20 kids in your classes. So let us know what your end game is.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and if you want to, if you're not familiar with our conference coverage, head over to conference.edutechguys.com, and you will see all of the interviews, the conversations that we've had with folks at a whole slew of conferences. And I don't know, maybe in there you'll find some nuggets that you take back into your classroom, or you find something that you want to share with us. And we are all about that. So you can go to edutechguys.com, fill out the little form at the bottom of the front page, or honestly, the easiest way is to jump on to Twitter or Facebook, hit us up on there, at EduTechGuys, drop us a line and let us know what you think, what you're doing. And for that matter, if you would like to share your story with us and our listeners, let us know that too. We would love to have you on the show.
Hi there, I'm April Jackson, and this is your East Update. This week, we hear about how East students in Batesville, Arkansas partnered with the Smithsonian Museum.
I'm Shannon Sullivan with Museum on Main Street at the Smithsonian, and we are here to talk about Down on Main, which was a pilot project for a Smithsonian program called Stories Yes, which is digital storytelling and creating exhibitions with local history museums.
Jason Weaver of Southside Charter High School, one of the partners on this project.
And I'm Julie Reardon, also one of the partners on the project. I'm with Southside Junior High.
So I discovered East through these lovely people. And it happened because Museum on Main Street tours traveling exhibitions around the country, and we were in Arkansas with an exhibition called Hometown Teams in 2017. And the students at Southside were helping to put together a documentary film about local sports heroes. That project was Hometown Heroes. And Julie actually said, you really need to get in touch with East and Renda Hall, and this project came out of that essentially. And we are now providing small grants to East classrooms in Arkansas and Oklahoma, and last year one in Pennsylvania.
If you're interested in hearing the full episode of this week's update or learning more about East partnerships and projects, visit our website at eastinitiative.org. or follow us on social media at The East Initiative. I am April Jackson, and this has been your East Update.
Hey, thank you so much to April and the folks at the East Initiative for setting us up with the East Initiative update. That's something that we have in nearly every show, and we thank them so much for their hard work. And how awesome is it that students get to work with the Smithsonian? It's amazing.
That's cool. That just shows you the power of East and what the East Initiative actually brings to all the programs that it is a part of around the country now. And so if you'd like to know more, don't forget to visit the East Initiative. Just put East Initiative in Google. You're going to find them. They're also on social media. Find out what the East Initiative can do for your school and your students. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And you know what's really cool is these guys, these two jokers right here, we are actually looking at being at a few places. So we have some upcoming places we're going to be at live that if you would like to come and show up and hang out and talk to us and all that kind of good stuff. The first one that's coming up is the Arkansas Conference of Technology. That's October the 17th in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, and then we are going to be back again at the TCCA conference. That's the Technology and Curriculum Conference of Aldine, October 26th in Aldine, Texas, just outside of Houston.
Then right after that, we head north to Akron, Ohio for the Teach Better Conference. That's November 8th through the 9th.
Yeah, and then right after that, we've got the Illinois Education and Technology Conference, November 13th through 15th in Springfield, Illinois.
And then to wrap it out for the semester, we're going to head out west to Phoenix, Arizona, to the Association of Educational Service Agencies 2019 conference. That's December 4th through the 7th. So, you know, just to find out if we're going to be anywhere, just keep checking back on our website, which is www.edutechguys.com, or just follow us on social media. If any of those conferences change or we reschedule, we'll let you know there. I've had a great show. David, I hope you've had a great show.
Oh, yeah, this has been great. I love it anytime we can, you know, the two of us just kind of sit down and chit chat. I hope the folks listening have enjoyed this as well.
Oh, they better. No, I'm just kidding. or I'll be changing my endgame. Anywho, hey, I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm David Henderson.
We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the EduTech Guys, edutechguys.com.